All right, now we're gonna add a full can of coconut milk, full fat coconut milk to the mix, and that really is helpful adding some substance to things. Again, it's still gonna serve a similar purpose as it did in the curry paste, because those non-polar fat molecules are gonna pick up any leftover oil we have in the pan, while the water-based part of the coconut milk is going to collect any juices from the vegetables, any water-based ingredients in the paste, and it's going to smooth out the paste to blend together, and it starts to make this kind of, more curry-like color that we're used to. Let that simmer a little bit. Get some other ingredients ready. Next, we're putting in kale. So kale is not a traditional curry ingredient at all, but the recipe that I found called for it just to add a little extra nutrients. And it is really, really a healthy food for you. It's packed full of vitamin K and C. You know, we got a lot of that in there already, but you know, one more doesn't hurt anybody. And a lot of good minerals. Kale is also full of a few cancer-fighting agents, sulforaphane and indole-3-carbinol. They done research on it, and apparently it is helpful in fighting cancer. All right, next we're gonna add a little bit more water, because there's a lot of oils and fats in there right now. Just gonna kind of help smooth things out. Add a little more water to the mix. Always good. Got 3/4 cups of water. That kind of buys us some time to slows down the cooking process a little bit. And the next ingredient we're gonna add is some coconut palm sugar. And I've been saying I was gonna explain why I chose this kind of sugar. Now I am. It's a low glycemic index kind of sugar, so it doesn't really spike your blood sugar too much when you eat it, which is always good because that's what leaves you with a gnarly crash, is because it's refined sugars have these high glycemic indexes. And no fibers really with them to process them, so you get all the sugar at once. It doesn't take your body any time to process it, and blood sugar spikes, and that kind of leaves you with a crash. So this has a low glycemic index, partially because it's so whole, and it comes from coconut, and isn't really refined that much, so it contains a lot of the cellulose in the coconut that helps your body to break down the sugar and pass it through in a natural way. So your body isn't just receiving an instant injection on this of just sugar. It's slowly processed and with the proper cellulose to help it pass through your body. So just put that in there. It's 1.5 teaspoons worth, just to sweeten it up a little bit. And we're gonna be adding our chicken pretty soon. So we lowered the heat a little bit, and now we're gonna go ahead and put the chicken in. I know it looks pretty liquidy right now, but some of that water is definitely gonna cook out, so I'm glad we have it in there right now. And I don't think I'm going to want to put all of this in. It should be good. I think I've been adjusting sizes throughout the video, probably because pan size might be a little different here, so I'm just trying to adjust to keep everything in the pan. Okay, so if you can come in and see here that the chicken's starting to change color as it's cooking. From that pink fleshy color to a whiter kind of off-white color. And that is because the proteins are going through a process called denaturation. And what happens in denaturation is the proteins that make up the chicken before they're cooked are in this state called their native conformation. And their native conformation, what that means is there are nonpolar and polar parts of the protein. And like we've seen before with the coconut milk and everything we've been cooking today, nonpolar likes to be with nonpolar and polar likes to be with polar. So these proteins in their native conformation naturally group themselves to put their nonpolar parts with their nonpolar parts and their polar parts with their polar parts. So they're grouped in a way that looks like the polar parts group together and then the nonpolar parts of the protein wrap around the polar parts. And that's what essentially creates that pink fleshy color and that really chewy texture of raw uncooked chicken. So when you cook them, the heat energy comes in and kind of disturbs the proteins and straightens them out of their native conformation into a just kind of like a chain shape. And when that happens, these proteins, they kind of tangle together and reform in ways that are different than they were when they were in their native conformation. And we observe that as the color changing from that pink to white and the texture changing from chewy and gummy to meaty and tender. Chicken's all cooked now. The proteins have fully denatured. The chicken now is not pink and fleshy. It is meaty, tender, and white. So now we're gonna add just a couple ingredients off the heat to add a little bit of extra flavor. We have tamari sauce, which is gluten-free soy sauce. This means that, for those who don't know, gluten is a compound that's formed by glutenin in wheat, and it's activated with that and another protein with water and with physical, like aggressive movements. If you knead dough, you're gonna like activate more gluten in the dough. So I'm not exactly sure the process of making soy sauce gluten-free, but yeah, tamari sauce is a gluten-free version of soy sauce, so they probably just avoid any wheat products that might have glutenin in them that could be activated by the water in the soy sauce. So that's probably what's going on there. We're just gonna put about one, maybe 1.5 tablespoons tamari sauce. Don't want it really to overpower anything. It's just a little more. That's good. And then we're gonna put some rice vinegar, and to add a little bit of kind of like sourness. It's a pungent flavor, so you definitely don't want to put a lot in there. 1.5 teaspoons. That's what the recipe calls for. That's good. And yeah, we're gonna mix that together. Then we'll be ready to plate it. All right, so now we're ready to plate it. We've got our brown rice here, our high fiber brown rice. We're gonna put some, just a little bit down the bowl. Give it a little bedding. There you go. Okay. And then piece de resistance. Let's hope we don't spill any. Yep, I did. Actually, let's get a good spoon here so we can get some of the good juices and curry in there. And the rice can soak all that up. Alright, and we're gonna put some cilantro on top as a garnish. Kind of a extra little healthy garnish with tons of antioxidants and vitamin K. Just tons of vitamin K in this whole dish, I guess. And it's actually got amazing cleansing abilities for like toxic metals. If you're exposed to mercury and you eat cilantro, that can help kind of ease your symptoms because cilantro can kind of grab onto that mercury and pull some out of you, which is really amazing. So that is the whole dish. Curry brown rice, our curry paste, all the steps. Hopefully I've done a good job at explaining all the chemistry behind making this stuff and all the health benefits behind a lot of these ingredients. And the benefits, of shopping organic and seasonal local foods. We tried to stay as organic as possible. Pretty much all these ingredients are organic, and our kale, our onion, our lemongrass, we all got from our local farmers market, so that was seasonal and local. And then the rest of our produce was all organic from the organic grocery store. Hopefully, somewhat local. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.